Chapter 6. Stanley took a shower, if you could call it that, ate dinner, if you could call it that, and went to bed, if you call it that. Call it his smelly, and if you call it his smelly and sketchy cot a bed because of the scarcity of water. Each camper was only allowed a 4-minute shower. It took Stanley nearly that long to get used to the cold water, that there was no knob for hot water. He kept stepping into it and then jumped back from the spray until the water shut off automatically. He never managed to use this bar of soap, which was just as well because he wouldn't have time to resign off the suds. Dinner was some kind of stew meat and vegetables. The meat was brown and the vegetable had once been green. Everything tasted pretty much the same. He ate it all and used his slice of white bread to mop up the juice. Stanley had never been one to leave food on his plate, no matter how it tasted. "What did you do?" one of the camper asked him. At first, Stanley didn't know what he meant. That scent the scent you hear for a reason. Oh, he realized, I stole a pair of Snickers. The other boys thought that was funny. Stanley wasn't sure why. Maybe because their crime was a lot worse than stealing shoes from a store, or where they're on someone's feet, asked Squid. From a score, maybe it's because stealing his shoes. From the store, or where they on someone's feet, asked Sweet Squid. Neither, Stanley answered. They belonged to Cycle Livingston. Nobody believed him. Sweet feet? Said X-Ray. Yeah, right. No way, said Squid. Now, as Stanley laid on his cot, he thought it was kind of funny in a way. Nobody had believed him when he said he was innocent. Now, when he said he stole them, nobody believed him either. Slide Eye Sweet Feet Livingston was a famous baseball player. He'd led the American League in stolen base over the last 3 years. He was also the only player in the history to hit 4 feet triple in one game. Stanley had a poster of him hanging on the wall of his bedroom. He used to have a poster anyway. He didn't know where it was now. It had been taken by the police and was used as evidence of his guilt in the current room. Slide Clyde D. Livingston also came to court in spite of everything. When Stanley found out that Sweet Feet was going to be there, he was actually excited about the prospect of meeting his hero. Cycle Livingston, Sly Livingston, testified that they were his sneakers, and that he had donated them to help raise money for his homeless shelter. He said he couldn't imagine what kind of horrible person would steal from homeless children. That was the worst part for Stanley. His hero thought he was a no good, dirty, rotten thief. As Stanley tried to turn over on his cot, he was afraid it was going to collapse under all his weight. His barely feet fits in it. When he finally managed to roll over on his stomach, the smell was so bad that he had to turn over again and try sleeping on his back. The cot smelled like sour milk. Thought it was night and air was still very warm. Armpit was snoring 2 cots away. Back at school, a bully named Derek Dune used to torment Stanley. The teachers never took Stanley's complaints seriously because Derek was so much smaller than Stanley. Some teachers even seemed to find it amusing that a little kid like Derek could pick on someone as big as Stanley. One day, Stanley was arrested. Derek had taken Stanley's notebook and after on long game of come and get it, finally dropped it on the toilet of boys' bathroom. By the time Stanley re- retrieved it, he had missed his bus and had to walk home. It was while he was walking home carrying his wet notebook with a prospect of having a copy and re- ruined to copy the ruined pages that the sneakers fell from the sky. I was walking home and the sneakers fell from the sky, he told to the judge. One hit me on the head. It had hurt. It had hurt too. They hadn't exactly fallen from the sky. He had just walked out from under a freeway overpass when the shoe hit him on the head. Stanley took it as some kind of sign. His father had been trying to figure out a way to recycle old sneakers, and suddenly a pair of sneakers fell on top of him, seemingly out of nowhere, like a gift from God. Naturally, he to had on go, had on way of knowing they belonged to Cycle Livingston. In fact, the shoes weren't anything but sweet. Whoever he had worn them had a bad case of foot adore. Stanley couldn't help but think that there was something special about the shoes, that they would somehow provide the key to his father's invention. It was too much of coincidence to be a mere accident. Stanley's had felt like he was holding this tiny shoes. He ran, thinking back now. He wasn't sure why he ran. Maybe he was in a hurry to bring the shoes to his father, or maybe he was trying to run away from his miserable and militating day at school. A car pulled alongside him. A policeman asked him, "Why are you running?" Then he took the shoes and made a call on his radio. Shortly thereafter, Stanley was arrested. It turned out the sneaker had been stolen from a display at the homeless shelter. That evening, rich people was going to come to the shelter and pay $100 to eat food that the poor people ate every day for free. Sly Livingston, who had once lived at the shelter when he was younger, was going to speak the sign autograph. His shoes would be auctioned, and it was expected that they would sell for over $5,000. All the money would go to help the homeless. Because of the baseball schedule, Stanley trailed the delayed several months. his parents couldn't afford a lawyer. You don't need a lawyer, his mom had said. Just tell the truth. Stanley told the truth, but perhaps it would have been better if he had lied a little. He could have said he found the shoes in the street. No one believed they fell from the sky. It wasn't this destiny, he realized. It was his no good, dirty, rotten pig stealing great great grandfather. The judge called Stanley's crime despicable. The shoes were valued all at over $5,000. It was money that would provide food and shelter for the homeless, and you stole that from them just so you could have a souvenir. The judge said that there was on an opening at Camp Green Lake, and he suggests that the discipline of the camp might improve Stanley's character. It was either that or jail. Stanley's parents asked if they could have some time to find out more about Camp Green Lake, but the judge advised them to make a quick decision. Vacancies don't last long on